When you look at the Dolphins' passing offense, maybe not as many explosive downfield passes as years past. Do you think that's a product of change in philosophy for them, or more so teams just making sure Tyreek and Jalen Waddle don't get loose?
I don't want to comment on how, what their strategy or whatever it is, but they do have speed and explosive players. It all sort of works together and ties into what they feel the quarterback can accomplish the best and how it matches their personnel. We've had some teams this year where we faced, 6'4", 6 foot, like every wide receiver was 6'4", and contested catches. It really wasn't a matter of matching speed; it was a matter of matching size. This is a little bit different on the outside part of the field because every single one of their guys is like 5'8", 5'9", and all run 4.3. Running backs, wide receivers, so it's a little different challenge. It's a matching the speed as opposed to matching the physicality and the size on the outside part of the field. So it's each week it's a little different challenge. They have a lot of guys that sort of blur the lines of what they are, wide receiver slash running back, fullback slash tight end slash fullback. Very similar to some of the stuff we saw from San Francisco, and sort of a trend in the NFL now is sort of blur the lines, and 11 can be 12 and 12 can be 11. I have been impressed. All their wide receivers are block, even though, not a lot of big guys out there, including Tyreek Hill. They'll block in the run game. They'll chip in pass protection. But the biggest thing this week is just being able to handle the speed because they threaten all 53 in the third with the speed of their team.
When a team goes to a shorter passing game like they have with that speed, does it put the absolute premium on tackling?
Yeah, 100%, 100%, and so much stuff. I mean, I think Achon has like his pass target depth overall is behind the line of scrimmage. So obviously they're getting the ball to him on short passes. Their screen game, a lot of different ways just to get the ball in playmakers' hands, whether they're wide receiver screens, running back screens, even tight end screens for run after the catch. And when you're a team that relies on run after the catch, it certainly puts an emphasis on tackling, angles, and pursuit.
Is Miles' hand okay? And what did you think about that, chasing down Joe on that sideline play?
Yeah, I actually didn't think that was his best effort play of the game. He had another one on their sideline where he was really running to the ball. He has that kind of speed to be able to do it. A lot of guys like to chase those quarterbacks because if they can get him, that's a sack, right? If the guy goes out of bounds and you're closest to him. So that's, but when you're running for a running back that's 15 yards down the field, that's that's truly a little different attitude when it comes to it, and still sees double teams all the time. We haven't been good enough winning our one-on-ones when teams choose to play us that way, but he's still been able to be effective. I mean, you look across the line at his stats. His pressure rate is down tiny bit from last year, but like tackles for losses and sacks and quarterback hits and all that stuff, he's on pace to either match what he did last year or even outdo it. So, that's sort of a testament. Like I've said a bunch of times, when people start their game plan with, we're not going to let this guy wreck our game, and they're still able to have effectiveness, I think that's the sign of a great player.
Jim, when we asked him about, some of the individual accomplishments, including the 100th sack, he's mentioned it's, kind of tainted by not getting as many wins this year, and he's alluded to, being frustrated with that multiple times. Just how have you seen him handle that this season, and how he's, kind of worked through that?
Yeah, I mean, his performance has stayed consistent. I think it's a tough situation. It's easy to prepare. It's easy to practice. It's easy to play this time of year when the stakes are high, right? I mean, it's just is what it is. But it puts a different, just puts a different lens on it when, you're playing because you're paid to play and you're a professional and you got a game on the schedule and all those. And you have to find your motivation a lot of different ways. And, he's been able to keep that stuff up. And it's been a disappointing season for all of us, but we're still professionals and we're still paid to play and coach, and we expect to finish strong.
Do you understand when he comes out and talks about not wanting to go through a rebuild and at this stage in his career, how important it is for him to win every year and have a chance to win every year?
Yeah, I'll let him speak for himself on that stuff. I mean, my eyes more on Miami Dolphins and what we can do to stop them, and not worrying so much about what's next year and things like that. So I'll let him comment on those kind of things, and I'll try to stay in my lane and keep it what we have this week, and try to keep my focus there and try to keep our players focused there.
How about the fact that he, though, has really set the tone? I remember when you first came in, you said you wanted your best leaders on the team to be your best players, and he's really verbalized it and then followed through on the field to set the tone for that effort and playing hard all the way to the end.
Yeah, for us to be successful, we need our best players to play the best, and also we need our best players to also set the best example. I still think there's things we can do better that way over the course of the season. Just the ability to persevere through some things. He was injured early in the season. A lot of different things come up. We haven't played with a lot of leads, which, obviously affects a guy that's a pass rusher and things like that. But we'll concentrate on finishing strong and being proud about what we do over the last two games.
So, can I ask one more?
What you got?
Miami. So you got all that speed on the outside, and then you got Jonnu Smith in the middle of the field. So what challenge is that?
Yeah, I mean, he's got speed too. He blurs a lot of lines. He's like a big wide receiver or a small tight end. They'll use him as a blocker, particularly on third down. But they get the ball in his hands. He's really good run after the catch. You can tell they've intentionally built their team around speed. And probably one of the biggest tales of the tape this week, Tony, is going to be how well our D-line is able to redirect on perimeter plays, how well they're going to be able to retrace on some of the middle screens. And, like usually if you're a B-gap defensive tackle, your B-gap is like from the guard to the tackle. The way these guys play, they make you defend from the guard all the way to the sideline. So it really puts an emphasis on forcing your D-line to be athletes. And that's probably our biggest challenge this week is, you have to play it a lot of different ways and be multi-dimensional, whatever the word is. But not only do they have to defend the B-gap, they're going to have to defend that B-gap all the way to the sideline, and they're going to have to be able to chase on some of these quick perimeter screens, which, when it's all said and done, really aren't a whole lot different than a toss play, right? They're just getting the line out in front, relocating the offensive line. So we're going to have to relocate the defensive line on a lot of those. And if we're limiting those things you had mentioned, tackling and those kind of things, but having that D-line's pursuit inside out and being available as an extra layer is a necessity this week. It's not a bonus, it's a necessity just based on the way that they play. So, I think our ability to play well on defense is going to be determined in a large part by our D-line's ability to flatten out, make perimeter plays, turn and run and make tackles on short passes. Ball's going to be coming out fast. So there's a lot of things they can do to help that effort.
Young D linemen had splash plays against the Bengals. Overall, how do you like Isaiah and Mike and even Juwan? How do you think they've played as they've gotten more and more playing?
Yeah, they've all played about our record. But they're all young players and they're having some success. They're still working to be consistent and those kind of things. But we're excited about all those guys.
Isaiah specifically with 3 forced fumbles this year, what is it about him that he's been able to knock the ball out so much?
Yeah, he has just sort of a knack for being around the ball, and he's got long arms. You know, some guys have a knack for it. Hopefully, that's one of the things that that he can bring to us. Okay, all right, guys.